Well, hey gang, welcome back to the channel. This is a little impromptu live stream we're doing here today as I work on a page or two, as I do some finishes here on my new comic book piece, Count Keefula, aka Dracula in Strangeville. Um, Went dark for a few months. I apologize for that. I didn't. And I was, pretty transparent about it at the time. I didn't take the death of Ed Piskor very well, and it made me pretty weird for a time, and and I just needed to get away. I needed to get off social media. I was disgusted by the way the Ed Piskor suicide was handled on social media, from what happened to him to the fallout after that to even the way, in some ways, the way his family's handled things since then. Not really going after the people in the professionals in the comic book industry that were, you know, um, if not responsible for his death, you know, definitely pushed him to it. You can spread the blame around however you want to on that front, but I didn't handle it very well. And social media in general is just a drag these days. There's really nothing fun about it, and I had to get away. I shut down all my social medias, and I even stopped work on this comic book for a while because I just needed to try to get my head in a better place, and I'm not sure that I accomplished that at all. But at some point, you have to go back to work, and this comic needs finished. And I'm here today to do that. I decided, um, as many people have, uh, in the months since Ed's passing, that the best way for us to honor his memory is to keep doing what he loved. And there's been quite a few, I would say, channels that have launched in the intervening months that have become comics reviews channels. And I've always wanted to. I've got a pretty nice. I don't have anywhere near the collection of comics that like Jim and Ed have, or many of you have, but I've got a pretty respectable collection of the greatest hits of gnarly, weird underground comics. So I decided to launch my own show here on my channel, and I hope that a lot of you guys that signed up when I did that live stream the night that Ed died will stick around for that, and will enjoy my unique perspective as a 20-year veteran of not only comics but small press, horror fiction, and low budget horror filmmaking. So I kind of come at this stuff from all kinds of different angles. And of course, I'm a creator myself, as you can see here. We're working on my new book, Count Keefula, aka Dracula in Strangeville, and this is a fun little comic that is perfect for. I like to do. For some reason, I find myself doing a lot of holiday themed comics. I do. Uh, Bigger on that. I've done Christmas comics, and I've got another Halloween comic called Nixon and Hogan's Horror Week Halloween, but not done yet apparently with the holiday theme stuff. Christmas and Halloween are just awesome uh, holidays, and they're just rife for there's just so many stories, especially horror stories you can tell with that theme. And I decided to do another sort of holiday. I don't not even really themed. This isn't a story set on Halloween night. It's just I decided to release it during the month of October. I'm kind of running, I'm kind of running close to the wire. You know, this was I started. I wrote this and started drawing it before summer started, with the intent to just kind of have it done and kind of percolating and waiting around for the Halloween season so that I could launch it. And then everything happened with Ed, and my mental state got a little questionable, and we have pushed that back a little bit. And I'm kind of running into the season, but I only have a few pages left to go. After this, I think I have 10 pages left to finish. So, and each of these pages only takes me about 20-25 minutes to finish, because everything, all the you know, penciling, inking, color flatting, and lettering is all done. You know, all I'm doing is adding the lighting effects and the highlights and shadows, and so uh, they don't. It doesn't take me that long to do it. It's going to take me longer to do it here because I haven't done a stream and drawn in a while, so I'm a little rusty at this. I'm kind of umming and on my way through this, but we'll get through it. I used to do these draw streams all the time. For those who have been around at the channel for a while, know that I've live streamed work on just about every comic I've ever done. So you can go back, dig through the archives of the channel, and find those. Maybe I should make a playlist of like drawing streams that would be helpful for you guys. And yeah, me and my buddy Dr. Ben have been banking shows. I did an Eastman and Laird's Ninja Turtles show. I did. I did a show on the Max. You know, my favorite comic of all time. Sam Keith, one of my favorite comic artists of all time. Uh, did one on him. We did what else is already out? Oh, I did just today. Well, I did earlier in the week. I did a Doug TenNapel deep dive where I showed a bunch of Doug TenNapel comics. He's one of my favorite comic artists. I think he's slept on and underrated because of his politics. People don't want to support him as a cartoonist, but he's awesome. All that aside, he makes great comics. Let's do some more shadows. I did Johnny Ryan's Prison Pit is the video that went up yesterday morning. I love that comic. That comic's gnarly. I'm actually started writing. I had this idea. Um, I wouldn't say a long time ago, but more than a year ago. I had this idea to do a like a Prison Pit homage comic that's just black and white and like bare bones and can just be updated forever and just have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages like Johnny Ryan's Prison Pit. And you know, I messed around with it, had some ideas. I never really got going seriously with it. And then this morning, and maybe it was because it's, you know, the Prison Pit show was fresh on my mind. Uh, it kind of hit me with the title, and I've like the idea, the concept of it hasn't changed, but I changed the title, and just changing the title sort of locked it in, and I think I'm ready to mess around with it a little bit. And it's gonna be called Fuck Hell, and it's the story of this nameless character who wakes up crucified upside down, surrounded by demons, and it is just going to be this gnarly, black and white, just like demon killing comic in the tradition of Johnny Ryan's Prison Pit, where it's just going to be this dude is just going to fight and fight and fight these gnarly monster demons over, and it's just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder as it goes, much like Prison Pit does. And I was cracking myself up with that, so I actually kind of worked on the script a little bit this morning. I kind of worked some things out. It's I've just kind of had it in overview in my mind for the last few years, um, and I want to even like I don't even want it to I don't want it. It's not going to be colored ever. Like I think I want it to just be like this gnarly little mini black and white comic that I could print out and take to like comic shops and local comic shops and sell them for like something super cheap, like $2 or $3, and hopefully people will enjoy it. If you enjoy Johnny Ryan's Prison Pit, you should enjoy it. If I do my job right, I guess. But looking forward to working on that. Looking forward to finishing this up. It's because I took a break on it. I've been working on it for seemingly forever. This book has just been with me for a while. This little silly one-off Dracula and Strangeville comic. I just wanted to make what is happening? Good enough. So I just had this. I had this idea for this comic here, Count Keefula, aka Dracula in Strangeville. I just thought it would be. I was cracking myself up thinking about what kind of like swinger pervert Dracula would be if he like blew into town and like turned a bunch of chicks into vampires and just just generally ran amok the way Strangeville characters do, smoking weed and like banging these loose vampire chicks, and then and somehow get Nixon and Hogan involved in it, and just have Nixon and Hogan like like no sell the Lord of the Night being in their town, like terrorizing the citizens the citizens of Strangeville. I don't know why I'm doing this on the shadow layer. It's too late now. Everything's going to be shadow layer. I guess because they're so close to the light source here, I can justify. I usually do like a shadow and then a separate shade layer. She's not going to be much of her shadow. Just trying to create a little bit of depth here. Good Lord. Okay. I like doing these like extremely high contrast colors with the with my comics, with the Strangeville comics. It's nighttime. They're standing right outside Nixon's house, so I have the light source from inside like blazing out and hitting everybody. Super high contrast yellow, bright yellow. Kind of gives it like a psychedelic effect, like a almost like a blacklight poster. And I get criticism for it. Of course, everybody gets criticism for everything they do. Like nobody can just have be an artist and just have their, which is another reason why I get so frustrated with social media. It's like everybody's not only does everybody have an opinion, which is fine, but it's like people will latch on to negative other people's negative opinions at almost in order to push and pressure anyone who says, anything online to fall into line into some trendy opinion. You can only have like on the internet, you can only have two opinions: the right wing opinion and the left wing opinion, and nothing else. Like everything else um, just gets swallowed up by the trend chasers. And I hate trendy shit, like period. Like I've always hated trendy shit my whole life. I've never been a trendy person. I've never followed trends. I've always bucked trends, and I've always been a contrarian when it comes to like trendy pop culture shit. And much to my horror, as I kind of threw all my my experience points towards entertainment, comics, video games, movies, music. Uh, when I was growing up, comics and horror movies and shit, that's not what was cool. What was cool was like listening to fucking rap music, um, listening to like gangster rap in like white suburbs and like pretending to be in gangs and shit. When and like being super into basketball and Michael Jordan and shit. That's what was cool um, in the early '90s. When I was growing up, it wasn't comics and horror movies and shit like the you know history, the good old days, kind of rose tinted glasses, kind of revisionist history will have you believe that like all the cool kids were hanging around, watching like in Stranger Things, they've got those kids like singing like the Never Ending Story theme song and shit. It's like nobody, and I mean no fucking buddy, was watching that shit but us dorky kids. And I guess they're supposed to be the dorky kids, whatever. They're the ones playing D&D, whatever. I guess you shouldn't get it twisted that there was any kind of coolness to that at all. Nobody thought that was cool. And in movies and shows like that, they try to like have like a jock kid or something like get involved and like think that stuff's cool. That stuff never happened. And it was only later in the mid 2000s that stuff started to get cool, and that and trendy, much to the chagrin of guys like me who were like, wait, I got beat up and stuffed in lockers and like spit on and put in trash cans and shit when I was in school when I was in junior high and high school for being into this shit. And now suddenly it's like the coolest, trendiest thing to be involved in, and that's never gone away. It's like it's been fucking decades now of you know like comics and horror movies and like cult movies and shit being considered like trendy, and it's like the trend will just not go away, and it's drawn the worst of the worst kind of um, trend seekers and social climbers and shit like that, and that little rant, I'm what I'm trying to get across is that still to this day, it's like if I if I or any other artist or musician or whatever, anybody who bucks a trend and tries to do something out of the ordinary, stuff gets drowned in trendy backlash, and I think it's so lame and silly that you're not allowed to be. There's no everything is part. You're a part of a hive mind. You're part of some tribe or trend or group or clique, and individualism has just been eradicated from art and from what's now pop culture, but what used to just be art culture or entertainment culture, which shouldn't have to adhere to these such strict trends. It completely destroys creativity. You can't even, here on YouTube, if you don't follow the algorithm, then you're not going to get views. And so everybody's this. It's a homogenized system, that's controlled by these algorithms. And who are the algorithms? What are the algorithms controlled by? Well, are the algorithms controlled by the tech bro, um, geeks that program the algorithm, or does the algorithm take on a mind of its own, a life of its own, sort of an almost sentient, they call it AI now, but that's not actually a real thing. Computers aren't thinking for themselves, they're just sophisticated algorithms. And the question becomes, who are we creating the content for, uh, if we're constantly chasing these algorithmic trends that are kind of headless beasts. They don't even have the the algorithm doesn't care what gets trendy. And I'm just ranting about my frustrations. I hope I make at least a little bit of sense here as I draw through my comic here. Hopefully by October 1st, Dracula in Strangeville, aka Count Keefula, will be up and available on my Patreon page. You can see that down in the description below is a link to my Patreon. Only $2.99 a month gets you access to all my comics and my novels and my movies. And it's almost 20 years worth of content, worth of gnarly underground shit that I've made, and it's a good deal, I think. $3 a month. You get access to dozens and dozens and dozens of Strangeville stories. Um, and this here book will be finished by then and up on the Patreon page, and I hope you dig it. I should get I'll probably get a trailer done in the next couple of weeks, and post the trailer to the channel. I like doing the trailers for these books. It's not like anything. Nobody's ever done comic book trailers the way I do comic book trailers, and again, it just goes back to like, I don't think they're appreciated. I don't think this shit's appreciated because it doesn't follow an algorithmic trend, and there's nothing for trendy people to latch onto. When it comes to my stuff is truly underground and weird and bucks trends and follows no algorithmic nonsense. I just think it's cool, funny shit. When I set out to write a new comic or draw a new comic, what I'm doing is, I mean, I've read everything, I've seen everything. I'm not nearly the sort of comics historian that someone like Ed Piskor was, but Ed Piskor was like a once in a generation comics historian. Nobody has the game for comics that Ed Piskor had, but I have a pretty deep knowledge of um, uh, horror fiction and horror comics or horror movies, and movies in general. I spent years working in video stores, and that was my thing. I was a filmmaker. I was a cinephile, and I just wanted to know everything about everything. And I've got a pretty solid hold on pretty much all cinema from the '70s to now. But I'm trying with comics. With comics, I'm doing my best to get caught up and to learn, as much as I can about all eras of comics. And I've got game, but I don't have game, like I said, on the level of fucking Ed Piskor. But the point is, I've consumed tens of thousands of hours of content uh, when it comes to movies and comics and TV. And so, what I'm trying to accomplish when I make a comic or a movie or write a novel is I want to do shit that I've never seen before. I want to create. I want to create stories so wacky and wild that I've never seen anything like it. And so when I do something like Count Keefula, aka Dracula in Strangeville, there's been black exploitation Dracula stuff. I'm sure where he's like smoking weed. And there's been parody Dracula stuff for years. But I'm setting them in the ghetto ass white trash ghetto of Strangeville and have them interact and have them bang sluts in the ways that I have them do that in this book, and they are gnarly ways. By the way, if you've read my stuff, you know how hard in the paint that I can go when it comes to like the raunchy sex stuff, and Dracula just goes nutsoid. He goes ham, as the kids say in this book, and it just cracks me up the whole time, because I've never seen anything like it. Never seen Dracula look like this. I've never seen Dracula talk like this, and that's always my motivation. I'm always trying to do storytelling in a way I've just never seen it. All with a satirical edge, all in an absurd, comedy with an absurd comedic angle to it, or whatever. I'm always trying to take the piss out of modern culture, and lately, the way I've been thinking about this stuff is really it's just I'm a documentarian uh, trying to document the fall of the Western Empire, like late stage capitalism, late stage American Empire, all of the absurdities that encapsulate this ridiculous uh, culture. I try to stick it in here and make fun of it, satirize it, take the piss out of it. Try to take the sting off of it. For other people like me that just are losing their minds participating in this uh, you know absolutely dumb end of civilization culture we live in, and we definitely we are living in the if not the spiritual end times, the the economic end times of the Western Empire. Like our days as a first world power are just coming to an end at a rapid pace. And what can you do? What can you as an individual do about it other than sit back and crack a beer or burn a fatty and watch it collapse. There's grifter content creators all over the internet who want you to believe that just go have babies and be a be a homesteader and rebuild the the culture in your image. Like, good luck. Good luck. Some days I want to believe that's possible, and most days I just watch it burn. And I think most of those people are disingenuous. I don't think they believe their own bullshit. I don't think that they believe the bullshit that they're selling. They're just trying to make a buck. They're trying to make a buck. As the world burns, they're trying to make a few dollars in the process. And I guess I'm sitting here doing the same thing, aren't I, gang? I think we just about got the shadows done here. And then, yeah, all we have to do is hit the highlights, and this page, I believe, is done. Um, and if you can believe it, again, for those of you guys who are familiar with my work and have read all my comics like Too Many Dabs, like The Wizard of Ganj, these are also both available on my Patreon page, linked below. You know that it's very rare for me to have a page. I don't know if I've ever had a page with no dialogue. This is it. This is the page. There's no dialogue on the page. This is the delivery guy that was delivering Hogan's pizza rolls. And don't, I mean, don't ask why he's got a pentagram tattooed on his head or all these piercings and everything. That's just what delivery guys look like. All right, let's head over into the lights layer. And again, I catch shit, flack, and criticism for this all the time for doing this hyper contrast black light style lighting. They're like, oh, your lighting like overtakes your inking, cartooning. It's like, well, that's okay. These are the kind of, like Dario Argento and shit are like inspirations for my style here of just doing these like blown out. I love like hyper stylized um, horror movie cinematography, and that's what we're going for here. Strangeville comics, and I'm sorry if that's not trendy and cool, and other artists don't do it. Uh, your favorite artist doesn't draw like this. That's okay. We should all have individualistic styles. We shouldn't all be trying to bite one another when it comes to our comic styles. And I think my ink or my inking style, like my cartooning style, is kind of in the vein of the underground cartoonists. And so I think that as a counterbalance to that, so that this doesn't just look like a shitty R. Crumb, ripoff artist work, I contrast that underground style with the hyper contrast lighting, because most of that work, if not almost all that work, was all black and white. So bringing in this psychedelic, except for the covers, and the covers were kind of like gaudy, primary color, kind of jump out at you, uh, kind of style. There's a kind of among creators, not necessarily among fans. Fans don't necessarily get this side of content creators, artists, musicians, actors very often, but among creators, there's this like notion of like a blessing and a curse when you have like a popular character that you end up getting like trapped into writing and drawing or acting as, or writing in a novel or whatever the case may be, over and over again. And like, man, doesn't it get tiresome, having to draw that over and over again? Wouldn't you love to do something fresh and new? And some creators fall into that mental trap where they believe that once they find success with a character, they have to get rid of the character or theme or whatever, that they have to like throw that away and start fresh and try to find a new character or a new theme or whatever to try to find success with. I love the fact that a guy like Kevin Eastman, co-creator of the Ninja Turtles, he's very vocal that he only sees the turtles as a blessing, and he's excited every day to be able to work on new turtle stuff. And he does. He still oversees the IDW Ninja Turtle stuff. And he does covers, and he's very active in the Ninja Turtle sphere or space, as the kids like to call things today. Um, and I have that same like love and reverence for my characters Nixon and Hogan. I first wrote Nixon and Hogan in a short film in 2007 called Dead Shit, and me and one of my friends played the characters. I play the character of Hogan, and my buddy plays the character of Nixon, and I never got and we did a ton of movies and short films featuring Nixon and Hogan, and I never ever got tired of writing them, and I never ever got tired of playing them as an actor. And to this day, it's been almost 20 years. It's been 17 years since I first wrote these characters, and I never get tired of writing them. I'll keep writing and drawing these characters as long as God willing, I have hands and eyes and a voice to be able to tell these stories. Um, and so I don't get that. I don't get the sort of. Let's do a second highlight here. And we'll just do like a moonlight on maybe a little brighter than that. We'll throw a little lighting down here on our homie, on our poor unfortunate pizza roll delivery guy here. We'll do this. I've never understood that, and I think it's just artists are kind of like an insufferable type of people that like feel like they constantly have to complain about something. Nothing's ever good enough. Uh, there's always got to be some melodrama, some suffering of some sort. It can't ever be fun. They can't ever be happy or proud of their creations. It has to just be, this morose, like, oh, I'm the tortured artist trope. Um, I think that's extremely lame. Never understood it, and I'm just grateful for every Strangeville character, every character I've been able to write, every story I've been able to tell. When I start a new, when I start a new book, once I've got it written and I kind of commit to it, and I start drawing it, I always have the same like prayer. I always ask God, just let me finish this one. If you're gonna take me, just let me finish telling this story. Like let me get this out into the world so that when I'm dead, this is the last thing, that I have to like be proud of for people to remember my legacy. Like, please let me finish this one last thing uh, toward my legacy as a storyteller, my contribution to weirdo underground art. And what's funny is it's never like I'm never sad. As soon as I finish one, I start the next one and I pray the same prayer. God, please just let me finish Dracula in Strangeville. Please just let me get this out there because it's so gnarly and fun. And I just want people to, to laugh at it, laugh with it the same way that I do, or laugh at it, or whatever the case may be. And so I've never liked that, the idea of like the tortured artist that's never satisfied with his work and all that. Like, sure, I try to get better all the time. Like, I don't take for granted that uh, my skills as a cartoonist need work. Of course, I'm always trying to work, trying to develop my skills and get a little better and a little better each time. But that doesn't mean that I don't like what came before. Sometimes it's hard to look at my early, especially my early comics. They're pretty rough, but I still think they have, they're well intentioned. There's good intent behind them, and they were a learning process. The stories, I think, are, it's not like I got bad at writing because I switched over to comics as a storytelling medium. So the writing is still solid, but yeah, that art isn't the best. but it's gotten better with time, and it's to the point now where when I look at stuff like, it's been I'd say it's been a year since I did Too Many Dabs, and I still like this art. Like, I don't look at the Too Many Dabs art and think, "Oh shit, what have I done? It's so embarrassing to put this out into the world." No, I think this is pretty competent underground comics art. So, so I've at least gotten to that point where I don't cringe at my work anymore. But some people never stop, no matter what. Some people never stop cringing at their own. They never stop cringing at their own artwork. Um, some more of this out there. I'm going to do another page here, but I need to take a break. So I'm going to put this on mute, and I'm going to come back in a few minutes and keep working. So stick with me again. All right, I'm back. Fix this. Let it do it. There we go. All right, let's finish this page up. I think we're done. Oh, I really don't think any of that's necessary. Kill that and leave it on his hand there. And the pizza roll bag, but I don't think we need it on the highlight there on the bushes. That's just overkill. I could highlight every little fucking thing, but I think that the best thing to do would be just let the eye kind of be drawn to the middle point here. And I got all that highlighted. Yeah, I think I'm good with the highlights on this stuff. And then I just want to do, I did do some little shading there. Let's add that little shading here. And shading on the front of his windowsills. I think that's it. I think we're going to call that good. Yeah, maybe I should throw the highlight on her front leg here. There. And I think we'll call that done. Yeah. It's a good page. Happy with that. All right, let's save this down. Open up the next one. I don't know. It's getting a little late in the afternoon. I think I might call it done with that one. That one page, but I'll click through some. We'll take a look at what's been done so far. What you have to look forward to on October 1st over on the Patreon when Count Keefula, aka Dracula in Strangeville, actually drops for realsies. Link to the Patreon in the description. All right, let me show you guys. Turn the tablet. Pages don't turn anymore on my tablet for some reason. I'm not sure what changed. Something in my screen. Something in my settings changed, and now my screen doesn't turn anymore. But scroll through. pages. A couple finished pages on Dracula and Strangeville. Real proud of that double splash title page. Count Keefula, aka Dracula in Strangeville. He says, there he is. Dracula, his own damn self. He says, "Behold, bitches, Count Keefula, his motherfucking self, is up in this busted-ass piece. Bow down to your new master and beg for eternal youth and never-ending life in death." Of course, and illustrated by Kevin Strange. And that's about all I can show you on YouTube, because we start getting into some raunchy stuff from here on out. But yeah, that's the first few pages of Dracula in Strangeville. Make sure you sign up for that Patreon and get yourself a copy, or wait till you find it in a dollar bin, gang. That's what we like here on the channel, digging in the dollar bin. So I will see you at the dollar bin.